Welcome into Football Friday Night. We're into week 2 of the high school football season, which means episode 2 of Football Friday Night. I'm Adam Solomon.
And I'm Tony Quach. And we start with Lima Senior. The Spartans are looking for a 2-0 start to the year. Finley comes to Spartan Stadium for our Spotlight game.
Tonight's Football Friday Night Spotlight game is brought to you by Norada Lanes.
This was a good one a year ago. A Lima Senior win 35-31. Spartans beat Pickwill last week. Finley fell to Pine Richland out of Pennsylvania in their season opener. Here's the story of the game in the first half. Lima Senior going down the field in the first quarter. Intercepted by Finley's Jacob Gebhardt at the 2-yard line. Finley throwing down the sidelines now, but there's Jaden Jones with the INT for Senior. Back comes Lima Senior, but back comes Gebhardt with his second interception of the game in the end zone. Finley ball, then right back to Lima Senior ball. Carmelo Hayes steps in front of that pass. 4 interceptions in the first half. Finley leads 3-0 at recess. We pick things up in the second, except this interception by Darius Routson has a little more juice on it. No one will get to him down the sidelines. A pick six. Lima Senior leads 7-3. Now finally some offense later in the third. After recovering a muffed Lima Senior punt, Miles Bailey pays it off with the short score, 10-7 Trojans. Then Finley essentially seals the deal. Lance Miller takes the handoff, finds the seam, and is gone. 59 yards through the heart of the Spartans defense. Trojans are a winner. Spartans offense can't get in the end zone. Final score 17-7.
Meanwhile, WBL play is underway. Over in Elida, the Bulldogs host Van Wert Cougars. Last season, Elida snapped a 6-game losing streak to Van Wert. The Cougars are 13-8 over the Dogs since 2004. Van Wert starts us off. Zach Crummy calls his own number. A pair of Bulldogs meet him at the goal line, but the sophomore powers through for the score. After a missed PAT, the Cougars trail 14-13. Let's move to the fourth. Crummy drops back to scan the field, but Parker Krim makes a nice move to the inside. He wraps up the QB for a loss and blows a kiss to the Van Wert sideline for good measure. The Cougars would respond right back. Crummy rolls to his left. He finds Micah Cowan in the corner of the end zone. They will go for 2, but fail to convert. Cougars lead 19-14. Bulldogs now trail by 5. Jonah Snyder fires one over the middle, but his receiver bobbles the catch, and Cowan makes another big play as he plucks it out of the air. Van Wert goes on to win 19-14.
All right, more from the WBL. Bats 1-0 on the road against St. Mary's, who look for their first win of this season. St. Mary's won this game a year ago, 37-29 in the regular season finale. We pick things up in the third quarter. St. Mary's down 28-10, but picking up a tackle for loss here, courtesy of St. Mary's' Owen Ott to set Bath back a few yards. But the Wildcats will get back on track. Zach Welsh drops back, surveys the land, throws it down the middle to a wide open Logan Markley. Huge chunk play for Bath, eventually leading to Mikey Hale virtually going untouched through the hole to extend the Wildcats' lead to 35-10. But the Rough Riders are still fighting. St. Mary's will drive all the way back down the field, capped off by this rushing touchdown, Caleb Schmidt. The score is now 35-16 after the failed 2-point conversion. Story of the night, though, Bath's offense. Mikey Hale receives the pitch, finds Pater yet again for the Wildcats. Bath is a winner in a high-scoring affair, 56-36.
Coming into action, Wapakoneta have won 4 straight over Salina, with the Bulldogs last winning coming in 2020. Tonight, both sides will look to get their first WBL conference win. All right, here we go. We're scoreless in the fourth quarter. Ball on the 1. Caleb Moyer gets the first points on the board for Wapakoneta. Straight up the gut, the quarterback goes. Redskins up 7. Same score on Walpack's next drive. The ball hits the ground, and Salina's Logan Billerman is there to land on top of it to get the Bulldogs back the ball off the fumble recovery. Bulldogs now have the ball at the start of the second quarter. Double play action. Parker Wink loads up and throws a dime into the breadbasket, going harder. That big play leads to Wink finding Carson Whites on the crossing route for the touchdown to tie the game at 7 apiece. It was a slow offensive half for both teams, but here is Walpock's Drew Niekamp kicking that through the uprights to give Redskins the 10-7 lead, as Walpock went on to go outscoring the Bulldogs 14-0 in the second half to win this one 24-7.
Rounding out the Western Buckeye League, Defiance wins by 1 point for the second week in a row, 21-20 over Ottawa Glandorf, while Shawnee won by 31 over Kenton, 37-6. Ridgemont takes care of Perry 45-6, while Arlington is a shutout winner over Riverdale 35-0. All right, it's time for our first Football Friday night break. Coming up, we get our first up-close and personal look at the reigning state champion Marion Local Flyers at Crestview. We'll be right back.
I'm Martise Kimbrough, and you're watching Football Friday Night.
Welcome back to Football Friday Night. Tonight we have a MAC versus NWC showdown. We're over in Convoy.
That's right, Adam. Crestview welcomes in the defending Division 7 state champions, Marion Local.
A tall task.
The Knights do have a tall task ahead of them tonight. They're facing off against the four-time reigning state champions from Maria Stein. Flyers carry a 65-game winning streak into this showdown. Starting off in the first quarter, Marion Local sets the tone from the start. On the first play of their drive, Ben Meyer will find the end zone, and the Flyers now lead 7-0. 3 minutes later, Brendan Hess hands off to Kale Nagel, and the senior takes it in for 28 yards. It's another Flyers score. Marion Local now leads 14-0. Let's head to the second quarter. Knights trail 22-0. They're looking to generate some offense, but Brandon Mesher comes up with the INT. He'll bring it all the way into the red zone, and that leads to this score. Hess gives it to Meyer, and Meyer gives his team a 29-point lead. And Marion Local is not done yet. Hess fires it to Nagel, and the senior is flying to the goal line. The Flyers dominate their way to a 63-0 win. They extend their winning streak to 66 games. And we have another MAC versus NWC battle, this time at Stadium Park. Jefferson and Parkway meet for the second year in a row. Last season, the Wildcats fell to the Panthers 17-13. In the second half, the Wildcats are down by 7. Luke Rohde breaks out of the pocket. He finds Lucas Milmine, and the junior will put Jefferson on the board. PAT is no good as the Wildcats trail 7-6. In the fourth, Jefferson has the ball right back. It's Dean Tretman getting the handoff. He'll attack on 6 more, and the home team now leads 12-7, and the Jefferson student section is loving it. And if it's not broken, don't fix it. Tretman will make his way into the end zone yet again, and the Wildcats now lead 19-7. Later in the fourth, how about another one from Tretman? A hat trick in the second half for the junior. Jefferson picks up their first win of the season. 26-14 is the final.
A little more defense in that game, and definitely a defensive battle over at Allen East this evening. Mustangs playing host to Fort Recovery. When we get there for the second half, it's 23-7 Fort Recovery, but on the drive following the second half kickoff, Allen East gets a pick 6. Now a 2-point conversion fails, so it's 23-13 Fort Recovery. Moving on toward the end of the quarter now, Allen East, their drive falters, but Travis Stanley adds 3 points to the lead as the Indians hold off Allen East in the second half, a 23-16 win. Fort Recovery is 2-0.
All right, let's go to Ada squaring off against Waynesville Goshen. These two faced off back in 2022 with the Tigers winning that game 28-0. Ada scores on the first possession of the game. Blake Zolas connects with Caleb Hickman in the end zone. It's 7-0 Bulldogs. But here comes WG. Corbin Barnes up the middle for 6. A little too easy for him right there. Bulldogs respond fast, though. Still in the first quarter, Zolas to Hickman yet again. 14-7 Ada up as they went on to win this one 42-19.
Back to the scoreboards we go. Spencerville bounces back with a 25-21 win over Wayne Trace, while Anna stays undefeated with a 34-26 victory over Fort Laramie. Elsewhere, Coldwater drops their first game of the season, 14-7 against Clinton Massey, while Minster can't keep up with Afrocentric, a 48-20 final score there. All right, it's time for our next break. We'll be right back with more Football Friday Night with an early focus on the BVC against the NWC.
Watching Football Friday Night!
Welcome back to Football Friday Night for the final time. I'm Adam Solomon. He's Tony Quach, and let's turn to some more non-conference play. The Blanchard Valley Conference and the Northwest Conference. We go to Columbus Grove. The Bulldogs play host to the Liberty Benton Eagles. Grove took this game 42-14 a year ago. But it was all Eagles early on. They're looking for a first down on 3rd and 19, but why not make it easier and just go for the end zone? Connor Barbara connects with senior Seth Elkert on the long bomb, and after a blocked PAT, LB's up 6-0. On their next drive, they set themselves up the 2-yard line. This time, Zach Elkert with the carry. Jumps on the pile there over the goal line. Eagles 7 more points. Now in the second, Eagles once again knocking on the door. The fake handoff will fool our cameraman initially here as Barbara keeps it himself, takes a hit, but reaches the ball over the line for 7 more points. Eagles up 27-0. Groves looking for something at the end of the first half. Landon Best gives here to Gavin Barraza, wide open in the middle of the field. That play helped set up the Bulldogs for a field goal, 27-3 at the half. They needed a lot more, though. All Liberty betting in this one. A big blowout win, 41-3 is your final score.
And over at Harmon Field, Bluffton battles Pandora Gilboa. The Rockets attempt to bounce back from a 42-0 loss last season. The Pirates have a 3-2 record against PG since 2019. Late in the second, PG trails 27-0. The Rockets are trying to get on the board. Court Gurdon hits Landon Moore with a 29-yard pass. PG pulls within 20. But Bluffton has an immediate response. Tate Gieske finds a wide-open Blaine Hill, and he will head into the end zone with ease. Nothing is going to stop him. The 70-yard score makes it 33-7 Bluffton. The Pirates would go for 2, and Parker Lovell makes it a 28-point lead for the home team, and the Pirates walk away with a 48-14 dub in Week 2.
Over to Corey Rossum to go. The Hornets are at home against Upper Scioto Valley. Both teams searching for their first win of this very young season. Now driving the ball down the field, Upper Scioto Valley has a chance to score in their first possession, but it's fumbled at the 1, caused by senior Levi Rutherford, jumped on by Hayden Walters, set the Hornets up in dangerous territory. And after a Corey Rossum turnover, quarterback Caden Lowry turns up with his legs, taking it to the house with the help of his blockers, making it 8-0 after a 2-point conversion. And then he'll use his arms, fresh after using his legs, connecting on a deep ball to his teammate Hunter Dameron. Will make it 16-0 at the half. All Upper Scioto Valley in this one, 40-0.
And let's take a look at some other scores from tonight. Lipstick take care of business at home tonight against Van Buren, 34-28. And how about Patrick Henry shutting out the Ayersville Pilots? 41-0 was that game. Meanwhile, we have another one of our teams shutting out their opponents tonight with New Bremen winning 49-0. And St. Henry hang on to remain unbeaten heading into MAC play, 27-19 over Archbold.
Some blowouts tonight, but a lot closer than last week where it seemed like about every other game was one. All right, that will do it for football Friday night. Week 2 of the football season is not over just yet, though. Lima Central Catholic, Delphus St. John's meet up tomorrow afternoon. We will, of course, have full coverage from that game and from Columbus for that #1 versus #3 Ohio State against Texas matchup. For Tony Quach and Dwayne Scott, I'm Adam Solomon. We will see you next Friday night.